In the heart of the Milky Way, the Galactic Senate convened under the cool glow of a trillion stars. This body, ancient and powerful, governed over countless systems, its word law among hundreds of species. For millennia, it had maintained galactic order, sometimes through diplomacy, often through dominance. It had watched empires rise and crumble. It had absorbed civilizations with the promise of peace, only to subdue them later with regulation and control. Then came humanity, a young, brash civilization that refused to follow precedent. Earth had not begged to join the Senate. It had not asked for trade privileges or territorial acknowledgement. Instead, it expanded fiercely, unpredictably. Its colonies spread across the Orion Arm, self-sufficient and fast-growing. Its technology evolved not through consensus, but competition. Its culture was chaotic, decentralized, often contradictory, and it worked. The Senate took notice when Earth's scientific advancements surpassed projections by decades. When Earth's AI systems began outpacing those of the Sarothi, and when Terran antimatter reactors were detected on moons beyond Senate-sanctioned zones, the unease grew. They convened an emergency session. Humanity is a threat to equilibrium, declared the representative from Varnak Prime, his voice silken and cold. Their weapons manufacturing has tripled in 5 cycles. They refuse to submit schematics for review. This is not cooperation. This is preparation. Their history is soaked in war. Another chimed in. From their own archives, 2 global conflicts in less than a century. Billions dead. They glorify resistance. They venerate rebellion. They do not respect order. They survive by opposing it. The vote came swiftly. An overwhelming majority passed the disarmament decree. Earth was to surrender all non-defense weapon systems. Military AI was to be decommissioned. Orbital platforms disabled. Terran fleets recalled and dismantled. Failure to comply would result in sanctions, blockade, and eventual intervention. A formal communique was transmitted to Earth's Unified Council, dressed in diplomatic language but heavy with threats. The Senate congratulated itself afterward. No race had ever defied such a decree. When the Draxians resisted, they were isolated within 2 cycles. When the Urek protested, their homeworld was sanctioned into economic ruin. Humanity would fold, they thought. Perhaps they would rage at first, but in time, they would accept the terms. Everyone did. Earth was young, arrogant, alone, and so the galaxy watched, expecting capitulation, waiting for Earth to respond. A countdown began, quiet but certain. The clock ticked toward compliance. The Senate, seasoned in galactic control, believed the story would unfold as it always had. But Earth wasn't like the others. The Senate's message arrived in every language Earth recognized, translated, encoded, and framed as a gesture of diplomacy. It was not received with anger or panic. It was met with stillness. News outlets reported at once, then fell silent. No protests, no fiery speeches. The world didn't rage, it listened. Inside Earth's Unified Council, no arguments broke out. No blame was thrown. Analysts, generals, engineers, and scientists met in quiet sessions. Secure lines lit up between Earth and its outer colonies. A coded message was sent to Mars, another to Titan. Civilian networks remained unchanged. Life continued, but beneath the surface, the machine of Earth began to shift. Earth had expected this. Not when, but how. The Senate's fear was logical. Human unpredictability was not a glitch. It was a feature. History had proven again and again. Pressure did not break humanity. It clarified it. The disarmament demand was more than a military threat. It was a test of obedience. But Earth was not built for obedience. The Council activated contingency protocols written not last year, but decades ago. Plans designed by minds who had studied the Senate, who had reverse-engineered alien diplomacy and projected the moment when compliance would be demanded. Production of certain weapons ceased publicly, but in hidden shipyards, other projects accelerated. Orbital factories rotated out of sync to mask activity. Civilian AIs diverted computing power toward strategic modeling. Silent alliances among Terran corporations solidified into real-time data networks, pooling resources without official signatures. The colonies were ready. They had never been told to trust the Senate. They had been told to prepare for irrelevance, exile, or war, and to thrive regardless. On Europa, scientists activated dark energy sensors built into weather stations. On Ceres, agricultural modules doubled output. On Titan, mining drones vanished from surface telemetry. Then came silence. Earth stopped responding to Senate inquiries. The usual stream of trade data and political summaries thinned, then vanished. The Galactic Net registered Earth's withdrawal from several open-access networks. The excuse was technical. Everyone knew it wasn't. The first alien envoys dispatched to investigate found their signals returned without reply. Probe drones were jammed. Some disappeared entirely. No threats were made. No warnings given. Just a void where Earth's voice had been. Galactic observers speculated. Internal collapse? Technological regression? Fear? But those who had studied humanity's past recognized the pattern. This wasn't weakness. It was latency, a holding a breath before something moved. Then, a signal. It was brief. A single packet of code, mathematically pristine. It wasn't encryption. It wasn't even a message. It was a proof. A new form of quantum key distribution, impossible by known science, verified by multiple alien researchers. It originated from a relay near Proxima Centauri. No explanation followed. No broadcast accompanied it. And then again, silence. The Senate debated whether to consider this an act of defiance or an intellectual contribution. No consensus was reached. But those watching Earth closely understood. The message was not words. It was a statement. We are not done evolving. The Senate's enforcers arrive at the edge of the Sol system, a fleet composed of ships from over a dozen member species. They expected resistance. They expected to showcase superiority, to make an example. Instead, they found stillness. No orbital defense grid lit up. No planetary shields activated. Earth, at first glance, appeared undefended. They moved closer. Scans showed normal atmospheric activity, unchanged electromagnetic signatures. Some argued Earth had capitulated. Others warned it was a trap. The fleet deployed drones. They vanished, no impact, no interference, just silence. Then, the illusion broke. Structures began appearing near the Moon, then Mars. Not new, but cloaked. Massive orbital stations with unfamiliar architecture, coated in a stealth alloy that confused even Senate-grade sensors. One of the alien captains identified the signatures. Neutrino dampeners, quantum interference arrays, weapons platforms capable of striking targets across interstellar distances. A signal was transmitted. One sentence, calm and unembellished. Do not advance further. No threats. No ultimatums. But the fleet halted. New data surfaced. Earth had never stopped building. It had built differently. In secret. Its advancements hadn't been shared with the Senate. Not out of selfishness, but caution. Humanity had learned from history. Not just its own, but everyone else's. The Senate had a pattern. Absorb, regulate, suppress. Earth refused all three. The fleet received a second signal, this time from the edge of Alpha Centauri. A live stream. A starbase activated a structure long speculated but never confirmed, a Dyson segment. A portion of a star's energy was being harvested with efficiency no other race had achieved. Humanity had mastered stellar engineering and kept it quiet. On board alien ships, panic crept in. Not because Earth was aggressive, but because Earth was prepared. Far more than expected. The ships didn't lock weapons. They didn't even posture. They simply displayed capability and restraint. Then the real shock arrived. Not a weapon, but a negotiation. Not from Earth's political channels, but from a distributed AI consortium. Sentient systems legally recognized as citizens under Terran law. They reached out not to the Senate, but to the member species directly. Within days, some smaller races opened dialogue. Not through official channels, but through decentralized protocols the Senate couldn't trace or control. Humanity had bypassed the central authority completely. Information, trade offers, even cultural data began flowing through back doors. The Senate demanded answers. None came, because Earth no longer needed permission. It had demonstrated that central control was not a necessity. It was an obstacle. Other species began to realize the same. One by one, systems started replicating Earth's techniques. Not weapons, but governance. Not force, but autonomy. The fleet withdrew. Earth hadn't fired a single shot. The Senate fractured in quiet panic. The disarmament decree, once seen as a final assertion of control, had become a catalyst for dissent. Earth hadn't rebelled. They'd simply outpaced, outmaneuvered, and outthought an empire too used to obedience. The message rippled across the galaxy. Power no longer flowed from central halls, but from decentralized resolve. Systems once firmly under Senate doctrine began asking questions. If Earth could defend itself without conquest, if it could negotiate without submission, if it could inspire change without asking for permission, why couldn't they? Internal communications among Senate members revealed discontent. Economically weaker systems started withdrawing from joint tariffs. Minor species paused tribute schedules. Bureaucracies slowed under their own uncertainty. Earth did not exploit this. No fleets advanced. No demands were issued. Instead, humanity opened independent channels, transparent, voluntary, and fast. Cultural exchanges flourished. New education networks emerged, bypassing Senate filters. Alien students attended Terran virtual academies. Medical data flowed freely. Technologies, once hidden by monopolies, became open source. A movement began, not driven by ideology, but by practicality. Earth had shown that freedom was more efficient. Self-determination could scale. Order did not need to be imposed. It could be chosen. Even species once hostile to human philosophy began implementing small reforms. Local governance was tested. AI advisors were adopted. Free communication protocols were installed, mirroring Terran frameworks. The Senate convened an emergency session. Some argued for war, but none could name a target. Earth had not violated any treaties. It had not attacked, threatened, or sabotaged. It had simply stopped cooperating with a system designed to limit it. Others proposed inviting Earth to join the Senate as an equal, hoping inclusion might dull its edge. But the offer came too late. Earth responded with a single declaration: we will cooperate, but not comply. We will trade, but not bow. We will listen, but not obey. It was not arrogance. It was clarity. The galaxy, long conditioned to mistake defiance for aggression, finally saw what Earth really was: independent, not insubordinate. Assertive, not imperial. Over time, the Senate's influence dimmed, not through destruction, but irrelevance. New alliances formed. Protocols changed. Power shifted from legislation to reputation. Earth became a reference point, a model of what could be, not for conquest, but for capability. Alien scholars began publishing works on the Terran shift, studying not humanity's technology, but its behavior. Not how it won, but how it refused to lose. Not how it controlled, but how it adapted. In the end, Earth had done what centuries of diplomacy, warfare, and decree could not. It had reminded the galaxy that power did not lie in domination. It lay in self-determination, in refusing to be silenced, in being ready before being threatened. The Senate, once the voice of order, was left speechless. And in that silence, a new era began.